everybody, thank you for joining me. So I wanted to bring another video about astrology. I thought since I'm on the roll, that energy from the supermoon and that Mars Pluto opposition is still in full effect. So I thought I would just keep going and see where I go with these videos. So one thing that I was thinking about with astrology and something that Bobby Hemmett had mentioned before is when you it's sort of like when you overcome things and you become all of the zodiac signs. So from what I understand, and a lot of people might disagree, and that's, I would love to hear, in the comments and things, what you think about this thing that I'm saying, that I kind of agree with what Bobby Hemmett was saying. But I think, and I have a lot that I want to learn about astrology as well. But I think that it can be that we overcome the the things of each sign in the zodiac, and I think when we do that, that we could become, like he said, all the signs in the zodiac, which means, we if we overcome, say, the I don't know, the quest for, I don't know, knowledge and, intelligence and stuff like that, that the Aquarius has to go through, and then we overcome whatever, journey that the Capricorn goes on with climbing to the top of the mountain. We go through this thing where we, start over, we start fresh with a new idea and stuff like that. We go through all these phases. Um, for example, I think with the Libra, they would be, building a family, and the Leo, maybe they would be also in the earlier stages of building a family, and just going through the different signs, the different stories, the different, for, I guess this is a good word for it, like the different myths that each of them need to go through, going through the journey, the entire journey. Then I feel like we can overcome all these things and become, like in the karate movies and stuff like that, or karate, then it would be like the master, the last dragon, or something like that. Once we overcome all these obstacles and do all these things, um, and I think that it's really actually pretty interesting to think about it that way, because and there was something else that I was thinking about, and hopefully someone will comment on it and tell me what they think about this too. But something else that I was thinking about, is with astrology, people would say, and this is sort of like when I was listening to some of the history of astrology as well. Then it's like, um, people are people got to do their part, and then, and that belief system, like the Egyptian system, like they thought, okay, we do our parts. As long as we do our parts, then the the so-called gods will do their parts too. So Isis or Osiris or whatever, Thoth or whatever, they'll all do their part. And when they do their part, we do our part. Then things are in harmony. When we don't do our part, then things are out of harmony. And then that's when things start going bad. So, for example, I think, people really do some wicked things. But when they do those one hand, I think, okay, they're that's going to lead to problems for them in their lives. So, for example, let's say that they're not doing something right. They're being wicked, and they go to, I don't know, get some piece of candy. Let's make it something small and simple. They want to get a piece of candy for Easter, and the person tells them, you're not getting any candy. Now, usually they would get candy, but they just did something wicked the night before, and now when they go to this person tells them they're not getting any candy. So they go away, and they thinking it's because I did that wicked thing, or they're thinking that they did something wrong, and that's the reason why. So I feel like in that system, they felt like that would help them to get control, I think, in their lives, because maybe they felt like life was out of control, but there's something that they could do by doing something good or righteous, and then that would keep harmony. And it's just like with, we think about the Ten Commandments and things like that. So to me, it was a more complete system than astrology. It was a mystery system. It's like a religious system, an entire system. So that was connected. What we do is connected to what God, in my, case, like what I do. Um, I don't, I don't, in my opinion, God is going to do what God does. Hold the world together and everything, and, keep harmony, and everything's going to go according to what God's plan is, whether I do what I am doing or not, or whether I do, like, God doesn't need me to I don't know, walk up the street in order to feed people in another country or something. That's not the way it works to me, in my opinion. However, it's possible that, like in the Bible talks about, if one person is righteous, then God wouldn't destroy the entire city, but couldn't find anyone righteous. Now, that's a terrible example, I think, because let's say, for example, there are people who are cannibals in this city, then that would make more sense to me that, oh my goodness, it's cannibals in this city, and if they can find one righteous person that does not eat people for dinner or whatever, then they can, then they could be, the city wouldn't be destroyed. But not finding one person that would not devour other people, I think it makes sense. And I think it was an attempt, like people's attempt to say, okay, is there a way that I can control the things or whatever that are happening in my life? And I think for us that it's possible that when we do good things, when we do good deeds, good things happen, truth comes to us and things like that. But when it doesn't, when people do wicked things happen to people. And I think, yeah, there's a lot to that story, is what I would say. But I feel like um, it is more like a spiritual system, I would say, more than even a religious system. That that it's like, um, yeah, there's this connection between our behavior and what's happening, um, but in in the heavens, or with God. So what I also was thinking about was, all right, because I've heard some people speak about asking the planets for help, or for example, in the Bible it talks about us having power over basically the the weather, like in scriptures it would say the Jesus, even the wind and the waves obey him. So for us, in the Bible it says we could do the things that Jesus did. So if we go back to that, then we could get the planets to do things for us to help us and so forth. So to me, that means that's not set in stone. And if that's the case, because people mapped out for years, this is the path that the Mercury is going to take, this is the path that Pluto is going to take, and Venus and Neptune and so on and so on, all these planets, Saturn, they're going to all follow a path. But what if we, because we know that we have influence in the heavens, what if those things change? And now, I'm not saying disrupting the entire system, but to me, for example, when I think about that, I think, okay, HARP made changes on the earth, so I think the earth is still able to, you know, help itself, and we can help the earth and stuff too. But I think that it's possible for us to have a lot more influence than we know. And because of that, I think that means that we need to start thinking about it all in a different way, and start thinking that, for example, for me, if there's a storm, it can be temporary, so it does not have to stay forever. Um, and I think knowing that we could do that is important, because I think we need to start exercising that and get better at asking for help with certain things. Um, yes, so I will stop this video for now. I just wanted to put that information out there, and I'm going to add more later. I think I want to do more videos about that with astrology, and talking about how we can use our influence to do things to help ourselves and others, and do things in a more positive way. There's so much interesting stuff that I was, just thinking